Hello, welcome to the second in our series of webinars as part of the Dry Eye January initiative, trying to raise awareness of the problem of dry eye and why it happens, what we can do about it fundamentally. And this evening I'm joined by Dr. Diane Hill-Alcampo, who's an ophthalmologist and surgeon and the founder of 2020 Beauty, which is, as she'll tell you, a bit of a passion project for her, and we'll talk a bit more about that as we get into this evening. Firstly, I just want to share details of the other webinars we've got still to come. As I say, this is part of a series, and we have two more to go. Tomorrow evening, we have Professor James Wolfson, who's an extremely expert academic in the area of dry eye. He's going to talk about why are my eyes dry, tired, gritty, or watery. And that's at the same time, 6:30 on this same platform. You can see a QR code below, and if you scan that, you'll get the login details in order to register for that webinar. And next week, on Thursday, the 29th of January, at the same time, 6:30, we have another webinar entitled From Drops to Devices. And this is really exploring modern treatments for dry eye. And it's with optometrist and co-founder of Peep Club, Nicola Alexander Cross. So please scan the QR codes and you'll be welcome to join us for these webinars. Also, some of you who were on last week's webinar will know we're running a competition. All you have to do is scan the QR code, follow us on Instagram, comment on our last post, tell us what the worst thing is about having dry eye, and then tag a friend. You will be entered into a draw, and as you can see, you will win a dry eye reset pack, which includes one of Nicola's company's heated eye wands for meibomian gland dysfunction support, some lubricant drops, lid cleansers, soothing eye gel, and some dry eye friendly makeup. I wonder whose makeup that might be, Diane.
Well, I very much hope it's 2020 Beauty
I think we know that is the case.
because our products are made especially for dry eye patients.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that in a little bit more. But any of you who've watched some of the other webinars or the previous week's webinar, will already have a little bit of background information on what causes dry eye and some of the basic things we can do about it. But Diane, I wanted to sort of touch on, I know it is a medical issue and it's often treated as a medical issue, but I don't think people want to hear that. And I think there are a lot of things that we can do non-medically to improve our dry eyes. Would you agree?
100%. And people are always surprised to hear that because it is extremely debilitating. So they don't realize that little changes that you make in your lifestyle, nutrition, sleep, um, and just little habits that you can do can make huge differences and really relieve the discomfort that they have.
Touching on sleep, what's the connection with poor sleep?
Well, it's been shown that poor sleep increases your dry eye symptoms by 50%. Studies have shown that. And basically, it's because sleep is restorative and regenerative for the ocular surface and the tear film. You know, when your eyes are open during the day, they're exposed to the environment, dust particles, air, poor quality air, and evaporation of the tear film. When your eyes are closed during sleep, it 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 basically, you don't get those insults. It prevents the insults from occurring, and you need that so that everything can repair. Any damage that's happened during that time can be repaired, damage to the cornea and the cells on a microcellular level, as well as restoring the tear film ingredients and quality. Um, so it's sleep is very important. Sleep quality and sleep quality and sleep quantity, extremely important.
It can be a bit of a vicious circle, can't it, as well, in that if you have dry eye symptoms, you might struggle also to get to sleep. So what could people do to try and make their eyes more comfortable on going to bed, for example?
Okay, well, definitely doing a before nighttime routine of cleansing your eyes and your eyelashes. You know, clean. Definitely, you should take off all of your makeup before bed because the makeup itself can be inflammatory and harbor bacteria that can be irritants and also damage your eyes. So you need to remove all your makeup first. I recommend Optase's preservative-free makeup cleanser with a microfiber cloth. It's basically it works very well and takes off all of my products extremely well when used together. It's preservative free, which is key because most eye makeup removers have a lot of preservatives in them. Then I really recommend that people use some type of warm compress or a warming mask is very soothing. They have masks that you can put in the microwave, masks that you can plug in, and even the Peep Club device is also warmth and great for warming up the oil glands so that they can express the oils better. So I definitely recommend use some type of heating mask or agent for 15 minutes before bed. I recommend putting a humidifier next to your bed, either a warm mist or a cold mist, increasing the humidity to 40 to 60% in the room. Either one works well. You should shut off any fan that you have because the fans will evaporate the moisture from your eyes as well as your skin. I mean, that one thing using the humidifier will help both your eyes and your skin. Um, I recommend before bed using some type of lubricant, either a lubricant drop, a lubricant gel, which is a little thicker and lasts longer, or a lubricant ointment. And you can put that in your eyes. You look up, put a little bit in your eyes, it'll coat your eyes and you'll wake up feeling much better. Again, the thinnest is a drop. If you need it a little thicker, I would go with a gel. And then the thickest would be an ointment, which has kind of a Vaseline consistency. But when it'll blur your vision, the ointment, but when you wake up, your eyes will feel moist.
The Yeah, I can certainly provide testimony to an ointment. I have dry eyes myself, and I use an ointment every night, and my eyes are not as comfortable if I don't, if I forget. I don't often forget, so definitely an ointment helps. I think because I sleep partially with my eyes partially open at night. That's one of the challenges I believe I have. Not that we've actually proven that. Um, but you mentioned uh, ladies, women. Of course, men don't have to remove makeup, but perhaps they also need to be. I think because we don't remove makeup, perhaps we're not as good at a facial cleanse, eye cleanse of an evening, and it's just as important for the guys, really, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, eyelid hygiene and cleansing is very important. So, basically, what you can do is after the warm compress, men and women can use a lid scrub pad like AccuSoft, or there are many brands of lid scrub pads that are medicated, and you can scrub your eyelashes, turn it around, scrub your eyelashes to keep them clean, and then use a hypochlorous acid spray. You know, the hypochlorous acid spray is wonderful. It's safe, non-irritating, and it will kill 99.9% of bacteria within a minute. It's safe for your eyes. It's also refreshing. I have one that's part of my line because I think it's just so important. Again, for daily hygiene, I always recommend using a hypochlorous acid spray twice a day, once in the morning, either before putting on makeup or before going out to work, and once at night before bed, because the bacteria are really bad for the ocular surface. The proteases on the bacteria can break up the outer tear film and exacerbate a dry eye. Plus, it can lead to infestation of mites. The mites eat the bacteria, and the mites can be very problematic. The bacteria also can cause corneal staph marginal ulcers, which are very painful. Um, so again, this hypochlorous acid
Yeah.
is excellent.
Yeah, I mean, hypochlorous is a fantastic thing. It's becoming increasingly used in various industries, dermatology, and podiatry, and even in dental. I mean, it's the fact that you just don't get antimicrobial resistance, and of course, it's also effective against viruses and fungi and you name it. It kills it. And for those that don't know, it's actually naturally hypochlorous acid is what our white blood cells give off when we're under attack by any kind of virus or bacteria on our body. It's what they give off to defend us. So it's a perfectly natural substance as well. So we don't have any worries about any problems with the body being toxic to it. One of the great tips you gave earlier was just, which I haven't thought about a lot, is the humidifier and the moisture, generating moisture. And it kind of leads me nicely into the hydration side of things and looking at diet and hydration and stuff. How does water intake affect our eyes generally?
It's a big problem because most people are dehydrated. They just don't drink enough water. You should be drinking at least eight. I mean, we use ounces here, but at least eight ounces, 8-ounce glasses of water a day. I tell my patients, drink your weight in pounds in ounces of water every day. So,
Right.
and that is what you should be drinking because if your body is dehydrated, your body is very smart. Our creator created a wonderful machine that works very well. So it will spare, if you don't have enough water, your body is going to take it to spare your kidneys and your brain. And it will take it away from your eyes, which are important, but less important than your kidneys and your brain. You can live without your eyes. You cannot live without your kidneys or your brain. So being dehydrated, that is the first place it will come from. And it's highly associated with dry eye. People who are on high blood pressure medications, many of them are diuretics, which means that you excrete water. And that's also a big risk factor for dry eyes and highly associated. Um, and so
The,
you definitely
yeah,
want to be hydrated.
I mean, the interesting thing is there used to be a theory that you would drink extra water to help with the dry eyes, but I think studies are suggesting now it's more about just making sure you're properly hydrated for the whole body. That taking on board extra water because you've got dry eyes isn't particularly beneficial. You just got to keep that sort of basic level of hydration for the body.
Yes. Yes. I mean, you don't want to, there's something called hyponatremia, okay, which is something that happens if you take in too much water, and we don't want that to
We don't
happen.
want to do that either. What about foods? What do you recommend to your patients from a dietary point of view? I mean, we can supplement, but in the first instance, a natural improvement in the foods we eat is the first step, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, diet is very important as well. Nutrition is very important. You need to support the eye structures that contribute to keeping your eyes healthy and lubricated. So you need to make sure you have enough omega-3 fatty acids that will support the oil glands and the oil production. So you want to make sure you're eating foods that are like salmon and chia seeds, flax seeds, very important. And you can also supplement. There are good supplements you can take. I have patients where that is the only thing that they did, add on that supplement, and they felt much better, believe it or not.
And that would
Um,
be omega-3 predominantly, wouldn't it?
then you want to make sure that you're having enough vitamin A. Yes, carrots, because vitamin A is associated with tear production. You want to make sure that you're getting enough lutein and zeaxanthin, which are very important for your retinas. You want to make sure that you're having antioxidants because antioxidants, again, will keep, a lot of these things are in the tear film and you want to make sure you have them in your tear film. So vitamin C, vitamin E. Again, vitamin C would be citrus fruits. Um, Lutein and zeaxanthin, you're talking about green leafy vegetables like spinach and kale. Vitamin E, nuts are good for vitamin E. So all of these things, keeping your body nutritionally healthy will also keep your dry eyes healthy as well. It will help. It will help with your dry eye.
And then when we come on to sort of lifestyle, other lifestyle things, I mean, the obvious culprit that I mean, we're doing it right now. We're staring at screens.
Yes. The
Um,
screens have become now part of our lives, and actually a huge part of some people are staring at a screen 12 hours a day. And when you look at a screen 12 hours a day, you don't blink enough.
no.
And when you don't blink enough, your eyes dry out. So basically, you want to make sure when you're using screens, things that you can do to help would be putting actually a desk side humidifier. And again, when I talk about a humidifier, it doesn't matter if it's warm mist or cool mist. You just want to try to get the humidity to be about 40 to 60%. So having a humidifier right next to your computer screen is very helpful, as well as keeping preservative-free eye drops available to you. And again, you can use these preservative-free drops to keep your eyes feeling moist and comfortable. If you're feeling uncomfortable, it means that there's damage being done. So you want to keep it hydrated before the discomfort occurs. So you want to, if you know you're going to be on the screens, you want to use preservative-free tears.
Yeah.
And also to take breaks, you know.
Yeah, what's the we touched on it on the last webinar, but I think it's important to touch on again, the 20-20-20 rule.
Yes, you want to every 20 minutes look away 20 feet or more for 20 seconds and blink
And blink.
and blink. Look away, blink, and then go back to your work. And just that little thing alone will really help your eyes. It's very good. It helps with eye strain. It helps relubricate um, and gives your eyes, it makes sure you're blinking a little bit at least.
Yeah, I think one of the first things I'm going to do after this webinar is I'm going to go and get a humidifier for my desk. Um,
You'll
Great
love it.
tip. Great tip. So cosmetics and sort of self-care is an area of expertise for you. I talked about it being a bit of a passion project, developing your own range. Um, and they come into these conversations. What are the most common mistakes people do make around their eyes with cosmetics, etc.?
Okay, first of all, with application and the products they use. Okay, so application, applying on the wet line, it's called tight lining eyeliner. So that means women will, and this is extremely common, and actually the beauty industry propagates it, and they and social media propagates it, but it's very bad for your eyes because when you put the eyeliner on the wet line, it blocks the oil secreting glands. Not all, and so the oils cannot go into the tear film normally, and then additionally, those chemicals are damaging and they will damage the oil secreting glands. Those glands are very delicate. They don't regenerate. You're born with a certain number of them. And once they're dead, they're dead. And basically the chemicals will damage the epithelial cells of the meibomian glands and eventually kill them. So that's one big mistake, applying it there. Another big mistake, using the wrong products. You don't want to use products that have harsh industrial strength chemicals around your eyes because that will cause inflammation and will exacerbate the dry eye cycle. So you should look for products. Like for me, I have a chemistry background and I made sure that all the products that I make have ingredients that are much safer for the ocular surface. I stay away from fragrance. I stay away from anything that has harsh preservatives. I stay away from I mean, things as simple as a pigment like carbon black. Carbon black, which has many, many names, is in a lot of eye makeup. And studies recently even came out showing how inflammatory carbon black is. It's from tar, basically, and it's the black pigment in most of our eye makeup. I don't use it. I use a different one. I use an iron oxide. But when you put this carbon black near your eyes, it causes inflammation and it puts you back into the dry eye cycle. You want to stay, also product design is very important. So when you use an eyeshadow that's a powder shadow, you get fallout with application. That fallout goes into the tear film, and the particles and the chemicals that are released, again, damage the ocular surface and put you into inflammation and worsen the dry eye cycle. And in fact, you see scarring. When a woman sits at the slit lamp and you have her look up, you can often see dark granulomas, dark scarring in the inferior fornix, which is in here. And then if you flip her upper eyelid, in the superior fornix as well, which is not supposed to be there and can be very
Oh,
irritating long term. So you want to make sure that you use the correct products that are made to be, with respect to the ocular surface in terms of ingredients and product design. And you want to make sure you remove your eye makeup every night before bed. Very important.
yeah, I think, I mean, the interesting thing probably for a lot of people listening is you would naturally assume that cosmetics made for the eyes, mascaras, eyeliners, shadows, etc., have to meet standards of eye safety. But the reality is they don't, do they?
Yeah. Standards are extremely low, and that's the problem. Um, so again, it's relatively recent now that all of us are realizing and how important eye makeup is in causing and exacerbating and continuing the dry eye cycle. It's only recently that this has really become recognized, and it's become recognized also because 80% of dry eye sufferers are women.
Yeah.
And again, damage over years and years, it makes dry eye later on in life that can be very difficult to treat.
And there's one particular area, I mean, that will be interesting. I'd be interested in your comment on retinols. The use of retinols, which seem to be, I mean, we're getting reports here in the UK of, children using these anti-aging products to, at the age of 10, 12. I mean, they don't need to. And not only do they not need to, it's causing harm, isn't it?
Yes. So retinols, creams that have retinol in them. Okay, first of all, you should never use these around your eyes on the lids, and a lot of people do. You should not. The lid skin is very thin, it's extremely delicate. It's not like the other skin around your face. And right underneath that skin are the meibomian glands. And these retinols, if you apply it around the lids, it damages and kills those oil secreting meibomian glands. Now, you may say, well, I only use it on my cheeks and my forehead. Still, when you go to sleep at night, it gets on your pillow and it migrates to around your eyes. And we see it so frequently that young people are getting death to their meibomian glands that are not, you can't regenerate from retinols. The other thing I want to add, Nick, which I don't know if you realize, so I also, in my products, like to stay away from any creams and when I make my products, I stay away from things that are high in vitamin A, carotenoids. For example, jojoba or aloe, they're very, very high um, in carotenoids, okay? Carotenoids, vitamin A, carotenoids, because the skin fibroblasts can turn them into retinoids. So
Oh, really?
if you're using a product nightly, let's say an eye cream that's high in these vitamin A botanicals, um, you are at risk of damaging your meibomian glands. So when I formulate my products, I do not put things that are high in vitamin A to be applied to the skin. It's converse to oral vitamin A, which is important, or even eye drops. if you have a lot of our eye drops have vitamin A in them, and actually that helps. It's restorative for tears and helps a dry eye. But when it's dropped into the eye, there are no skin fibroblasts there. So it cannot be turned into a retinoid. But when it's put on your skin, it can be. So I think you really have to look at the ingredients that the ingredients of the creams and the anything that you're putting around your eyes.
Excellent advice. And that's something I hadn't really appreciated, I must admit. So I've learned something else today,
Sure.
which is always good. Every day's a school day, they say. I forgot to mention to everyone that you can ask questions. I'm sure people familiar with Zoom would, if they had a question to ask. No one's asked a question yet, but feel free if you've got any specific questions around the general topics that we're talking about, or even topics we haven't talked about. Diane is more than capable of answering those. Um, the so I guess sort of starting to wrap things up this evening. If someone's sort of watching this and thinking, well, I've tried eye drops, but nothing seems to help. What would be one change you'd recommend that they'd make?
Okay. I would say the humidifiers at the desktop. It's just screens are such a big part now of our lives that a humidifier next on the desktop and next to the bed. That would be the first thing I would try.
And I guess the other thing is if you're just trying to self-manage, is it's not a bad idea to consult with an expert.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the rule of thumb is if you're using the preservative-free tears more than 4 times a day, you need something extra and you need to go and consult. And there are so many treatments that can help now. We have great medications and great modern treatments that can really help you. And you don't have to suffer. You shouldn't. If your eyes are burning and irritating you, it means that damage is happening. And you don't want this damage because it can cause scarring and it can affect your vision permanently. So you really, if you're feeling the pain and it's not being controlled with these lifestyle changes, you really need to go see a specialist, an eye doctor.
Brilliant advice. I think the other thing with eye drops is that you kind of touched on it earlier, is I think a lot of people use them when they have an episode or when they're feeling uncomfortable, and then they stop using them when they feel more comfortable. So they might use them for 2 or 3 times, 4 times a day for a period, and they think, oh, my eyes feel better.
No, it should be
Um,
part of your regular routine.
yeah.
It needs to be part of your regular routine. Because once you get to the point that your eyes are irritating you, that's a sign that damage is happening. You want to prevent that. It's so much easier as preventative than as curative. Really, a stitch in time saves nine is true. It's just very hard. It's much harder to treat than it is to prevent.
Diane, we have our first question.
Go
Thank you,
ahead.
Barbara. She can't get any mascara off. Tried vitamin B oil recommended on your site, but even this doesn't work very well. I don't know if that's my the dry zone or yours. I guess or your site. But anyway, doesn't seem
Okay.
to work very well. Can you advise me?
Yes, absolutely. I really love Optase's micellar water. So a water is a combination of an oil and an aqueous component. Their um, their makeup remover, gentle makeup eye makeup remover by Optase, and a microfiber cloth, which is sustainable. So I like sustainability. You can take a microfiber cloth and put it in the laundry. You can get them on Amazon. Um, Makeup Eraser makes very good ones, but there are other brands that do as well. And you put this Optase on it, and it will remove the mascara brilliantly. It's preservative free, which I love. So it's non-irritating. It has a little bit of manuka honey in it, which is anti-inflammatory. And I think you will be very, very happy with the results.
Yeah, Manuka honey is great for anti-inflammatory properties. Lynn has asked, um, we're going to struggle to answer this, partly because we don't want to be too product specific, which I know Lynn is a bit unhelpful. Also, the products available to Diane in the US are different to those available to us in the UK. But I mean, maybe we can be fairly general about the types of drops that we would recommend that are preservative free.
Okay. Okay, so preservative-free eye drops. There are many different brands. Some of them will have mineral oil in them, and that makes the eye drop last a little longer. Some of them will have omega-3 fatty acids in them or castor oil in them, and that will make the eye drop last a little bit longer. Again, when it lasts a little bit longer, though, it may cause a little bit of a blur. But if ones that don't have any oils in them are not lasting, then I would go with a brand that has a little bit of an oil in it. Um, then
I
if Go ahead.
Sorry, I'll just add. I mean, one of the things I know it's fairly ubiquitous around the world probably now is hyaluronic acid is HA, which many people will be very familiar in cosmetics now as well. Has quite for some time been used, certainly in Europe, in dry eye drops. Probably the only other thing I would so something with HA usually. Increasingly now, where once upon a time it was HA kind of on its own, we're now seeing formulations with HA plus something else that works at a different level of the tear film. There's a couple of products in the UK. One uses Trehalose in it. Another uses tamarin seed polysaccharide, which work in different ways. Some are osmoprotectives, some are work at the mucin layer of the tear film. So, but usually with HA as a base. The only other comment I'd have about drops is, there's HA and there's HA. You can buy £5 drops with hyaluronic acid in. You can buy £20 drop, well, maybe not 20, £15 drops with hyaluronic acid in. I don't want to say the more expensive ones are always better, but as a general rule, they're probably using superior quality of hyaluronic acid, and it is all about the molecular weight of the hyaluronic acid that you use. That basically HA absorbs lots of moisture, which is why it's so great as an eye drop. Anything else to add to that? What made you think of anything else, Diane? If not, we'll start to wrap up, I think.
I think also there are some drops that have a little bit of vitamin A in them, hyoscine.
Yes.
And as long as the vitamin A is not applied to the skin, it's applied in a drop, it's very helpful. So I think that's another aspect that you can look for in a drop or an ointment.
Yeah, I mean, most drops in Europe now are preservative free. It's very rare to come across something with preservatives in. It used to be just like single dose units, but now bottles are set up with a preservative free nozzle system so they don't suck bacteria and harmful stuff inside the bottle, which is what you need to keep the bottle sterile for the life that you use it. Okay, so I think we're largely done. Um, if this webinar is being recorded, it will be everyone who's attended will get a link. Everyone who hasn't attended will get a link so they can watch it again or watch it for the first time. I'd like to thank you, Diane, for finding the time in your lunch break. I know Diane's going to rush off and do surgery now, so we're certainly in the company of a very expert um, person when it comes to dry eye and anything ophthalmology related. So I'm very grateful that you've spent the time. Um, oh, one quick question's come in. Using I think she means humidify in the bedroom. Won't that cause mold? I guess that will depend on ventilation largely.
And you have to keep it clean.
Yeah.
You have to keep it clean. So that's key to preventing mold.
Okay. Fantastic. Once again, thank you, Diane, for sparing the time. And if anybody wants further information, you can visit the Dry Eye Zone website, dryeyezone.co.uk. You'll find more information about Dry Eye January and our up and coming webinars tomorrow night and the one next week. And generally, there are plenty of blogs on that website as well, as I know there are on the 2020 Beauty site. As far as the 2020 Beauty is concerned, in the UK, it's available from the Dry Eye Zone exclusively. But you can find information on the US site about the products, probably and certainly a bit more information than we have on our site. So if you're looking for that kind of advice, the Dry Eye Zone or 2020beauty.com, is it?
www.try2020,
That's
TRY.
it, try2020beauty.com.
Yes, but we do not ship to the UK. So you
No,
can order on our website, but we do have some interesting blogs and information on dry eye and our products. Um,
perfect. Thanks, Diane.
thank
And
you.
we will,
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a pleasure, and it's been wonderful being able to talk to your people who have dry eye in your country.
thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye now.
Bye.